Everybody loves the phrase player development until you ask what it actually means. Because once you do that, you realize the answer is not abstract, it's geographic, it's logistical, it's contractual, and it's a physiological. And in 2026, one of the clearest places to study it is the Florida State League.
And that matters because people hear single A and they think small.
Yeah.
They think cute little bus rides, a mascot, a couple of hot dogs, and a dream.
Which, to be fair, is part of the ecosystem.
It is, but that is not the whole story. The Florida State League is a filtration system. It is where organizations test whether a player can handle the professional routine, the professional pace, and the professional boredom that separates talent from actual advancement.
Exactly. This is not just a baseball outpost. It is the early architecture of a major league career. And at the center of that architecture is Jupiter, Florida, Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium, where two organizations, two player development models, and an awful lot of human ambition all live in very close quarters.
And in one of the most South Florida developments imaginable, one of the teams is also spending part of the season as the Frozen Iguanas.
As God intended.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, Yeah. Whoa, whoa, yeah.
So excited about the Frozen Iguanas.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The professional baseball landscape in 2026 represents a convergence of data-driven development, localized commercial branding, and a restructured minor league hierarchy. And at the center of that convergence sits the Florida State League.
For nearly a century, the league has functioned as a crucible for professional talent. In its current form, it operates as a 10-team single-A league designed to expose young players to the daily rhythm of professional baseball.
So in plain English, Florida is basically a giant baseball laboratory. Actually, that's part of why we moved here.
Correct. Warm weather, access to training complexes, less travel stress, more direct organizational oversight. That is not accidental. It is intentional by design.
Yes, and the 132-game schedule matters, and this is for the minor league, right? Because now you are not just evaluating talent, you are evaluating how talent behaves under repetition.
Exactly. The Florida State League is where prospect stops being a vibe and starts becoming a professional condition.
Yes.
Now we get to Jupiter, which is where this really gets fun.
Yes. Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium is one of the most strategically interesting sites in American baseball. It is the spring home of the Miami Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals. And during single A season, it becomes home to the, I just love these names, it becomes home to the Jupiter Hammerheads and the Palm Beach Cardinals. But that's not what they're being known by this season. But
So from an evaluation standpoint, this is a ridiculous setup.
Ridiculous
as in good.
Yeah, it is. For an agent, a scout, or a development-minded observer, Roger Dean is a rare opportunity to watch two organizational philosophies operating in parallel, right? Same climate, same broad environment, same league, but different systems, different coaching preferences, different player development bets.
Which means if you know what to look for, you can compare how the Marlins and Cardinals are trying to build a bigger league, a big leaguer in real time.
Exactly. This is not just a venue, it is a baseball crossroads. Young players are physically close to big league routines, and that proximity can sharpen habits or expose weaknesses very quickly.
Also, the baseball nerd in me that loves Roger Dean is basically permanent, organized chaos. It feels like there's always a game,
yes,
a bullpen, a report, a prospect, or somebody with sunflower seeds trying to become a millionaire.
That is an excellent description of modern baseball capitalism. A major 2026 development on the Palm Beach side is the launch of the, I'm so excited. about this is the launch of the Palm Beach Frozen Iguanas, the first alternate identity in the history of the Palm Beach Cardinals. The concept comes from a very South Florida phenomenon. When temperatures drop low enough, iguanas enter a cold stunned state and literally fall from the trees out here.
That sentence alone makes this one of the most Florida branding exercises ever attempted.
Yes, and I say that with affection because this is not just a gimmick, which it is partially a gimmick, and I'm super excited about it, but it is a case study in modern minor league branding. It's a great branding thing. It creates merchandise opportunities. It creates local identity. It turns regional weirdness, which Florida has a lot of that, into a commercial sports asset.
And from the player side, that matters more than people think.
Yeah.
Because even at single A, players are learning that professional sports are not only about performance, they are also about presentation.
Exactly. Alternate identities expose players to the entertainment, community, and marketability side of the profession earlier than previous generations ever experienced. And I think we're really seeing that. I think that whole thing we just said in the Banana League.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, go ahead.
So yes, this is baseball, but this is also merchandising.
Yep.
As well as community activation, regional storytelling, and frozen lizard commerce.
Probably not a sentence you ever expected to say in a podcast.
No.
Lizard commerce. That is a sentence that belongs in every proper legal treatise.
Now let's answer the big practical question. How does a player actually end up with the Hammerheads or the Palm Beach Cardinals?
Which Hammerheads. I just love these names. The answer is organizational philosophy, draft status, maturity, and developmental timing. In the current domestic ladder, a player typically moves from rookie ball into single A, then high A, double A, triple A, and finally the major leagues.
And the split between high school and college players matters a lot here.
It does. High school players often begin in a more controlled, complex environment. College players, especially polished ones, may move more quickly because the organization believes they can handle the pace and the routine of full season baseball.
Okay. So getting assigned to Jupiter means the organization is saying, we believe you are ready for full season baseball. That means physical durability. It also means mental steadiness, routine tolerance, and recovery discipline.
So Jupiter is not just the destination, it is the first real proving ground.
Exactly. The point is not to arrive there and admire yourself. The point is to survive it, learn in it, produce in it, and force the organization to keep moving you forward.
The path from single A to major leagues is rarely linear. Players move only after meeting developmental benchmarks. But as they climb, the conversation eventually reaches one of the most important thresholds in baseball. And we actually had a podcast about this earlier this year, the 40-man roster.
And that is where baseball starts sounding like a contract exam.
Yes. Because it is one. Once a player is added to the 40-man roster, he gains protection from the Rule 5 draft. But he also enters the world of option years. Usually there are 3 option years that allow the club to move him between major and minor leagues without exposing him to waivers.
So for the fans, this is not trivia. These rules affect service time, leverage, earning trajectory, and how a club manages a player's career.
And just a quick insert here. There should be a link up there somewhere on the top of your screen that links to, we did a very comprehensive podcast about all of the terms that Michael just said and I just said that you may not know what they mean. So if you don't, click on that and go watch it. And for an agent, understanding that architecture is central to advising a player on timing, risk, patience, and opportunity.
Now we need to talk about the part people romanticize and misunderstand at the same time, and that is daily life.
Yes, the glamour gap between major leagues and single A is enormous. A single A player's day is built around incremental improvement in physical maintenance, conditioning, treatment, blue pens, cage work, defensive work, scouting reports, video study, meal timing, hydration, recovery. Then they play a game, and then they do it again.
And importantly, do it in Florida.
Yes, which is beautiful here. Actually, I think it's always beautiful here, but some people, it's beautiful here until 6:42 p.m. when it's 91 degrees and the air feels edible.
This is the part fans do not always appreciate. The Florida State League is humid,
Yes.
repetitive, and unforgiving, which makes it perfect as a developmental stress test.
Correct. This league evaluates swing mechanics, yes, but it also evaluates durability, emotional regulation, preparation, consistency, and whether a player can still behave professionally after the novelty of, oh, I'm a baseball player, wears off.
So when people ask why single A matters, the answer is simple. This is where the body and the mind both get audited.
From an agent's perspective, the modern developmental conversation starts before a player even ever reaches Jupiter. It starts with the draft versus college decision.
For a high school player, signability is everything. A strong college commitment can create leverage. And that matters because a signing bonus is not just immediate money, it is also a signal of organizational investment.
Yes, meaning the bonus is not only compensation, it can also reflect how much runway the organization is willing to give that player.
All right. So at the same time, the rise of NIL has changed the calculus. College baseball is no longer just a holding pattern. For many players, it is a rational, developmental, and economic alternative.
Yes.
More maturity, more competition, more structure, education, and in some cases, meaningful NIL income.
And actually, education should be at the first of that list, but it's not anymore. So the question is not just, can I get drafted? The question is, where is my long-term development strongest and where is my leverage greatest?
Exactly. The modern athlete needs professional IQ,
Yes.
development knowledge, contract awareness, labor awareness, branding awareness, and not just bat speed or exit velocity.
Which means the old fairy tale version of just chase the dream and figure it out later is not enough anymore.
No, the dream now has paperwork.
Yes, it does. The 2026 Florida State League season is not just a schedule. It is a living model of how modern baseball develops. Talent. Roger Dean, in particular, gives us a concentrated look at that architecture. And we're very blessed to live here because Roger Dean is the only stadium in the minor league universe that has two organizations, one shared environment, and one relentless developmental stage.
And that is why this matters to more than prospect obsessives. It matters to athletes, families, advisors, agents, and fans who want to understand how a major leaguer is actually built. Not marketed, built.
Yes. The Florida State League is a proving ground. It tests durability, routine, recovery, discipline, and whether the player can transform tools into trust.
And if you are a young player listening, do not romanticize the latter. Respect it, learn it, prepare for it. The road to the majors is not paved with vibes, it is paved with routine.
And with failure and recovery and discipline and heat and buses and data and sometimes apparently happily frozen reptiles.
Baseball is a majestic sport.
It is. The road to the major league runs through places like the Florida State League, through the humidity, through the repetition, through the quiet days when nobody is tweeting your batting practice round. That is where professional baseball begins to tell the truth.
And in 2026, Jupiter might be one of the best places in the country to watch that truth happen.
That's our show.
You're listening to the AAA Ball and Play podcast. Quick note, this is for education and entertainment. Nothing here is legal, tax, or financial advice, and nothing we say creates an athlete-agent relationship. Listening or contacting us does not make us your lawyers or your agents. For advice, talk to a qualified professional in your state.